Hi, it's Eric and Dr. Sakisha. Marriages Can Win. We just wanted to jump on real quickly to talk to you a little bit about the topic that, it's kind of been going around. And we wanted to talk about the fact that in marriages, sometimes you might find yourself complimenting your spouse or competing against one. And we wanted to ask you, which one are you? Do you compliment your spouse or do you compete against your spouse?
I know I'm always trying to compliment my wife. She's beautiful.
Yeah, but we're talking about compliment as in do the two of you guys work together on things instead of competing against each other. When you think about competing in the world, it's like opposite teams. You're on opposite ends of the spectrum. But the truth is, you should not be competing against your spouse. You're not to be on opposite teams. The two of you are, in fact, on the same team.
Same team. And you know that common saying, teamwork makes the dream work?
True.
And we got a dream. And so we need the team to work so we can achieve that dream.
All right. So how do you know when you're complimenting your spouse or you're competing against your spouse?
Well, if you say something and she's upset, or if you say something and he's upset, that's not a compliment.
Okay. Well, look at it like this. Do you always have to be right? Do you always have to have the last word? Does that kind of ring a bell to you? You just, no matter what you say, your spouse always has something to say back and amplifies it. They take it up another notch. It's like you're trying to one-up one another. Now, let me ask you something. How do these teams win the NBA championships and the Super Bowl if you're on the same team and you're fighting against one another? How are you going to win?
It's not going to work. It's divided and everybody's angry and they want to do their own thing and they're mad and if the line doesn't block for the quarterback is getting killed. Oh my goodness, it's not going to work.
Okay, now you lost me because I know a little bit of football, but not that much. But we did want to give you 3 key tips to help you realize if you're complimenting your spouse or competing against your spouse. And it's something we want you to try. Do you find yourself arguing more so than you agree with one another?
Oh man, well, we agree, but then you have, on the men's side, we look at it like this. It's better just to agree with your wife and rather than arguing. So we're like, baby, whatever you like.
Well, that's fine and dandy. There are, there are going to be times where you just can't do that. You have to be able to do it in a respectful manner and be able to sometimes agree to disagree. But if you find yourself where, there are times where you just know your spouse is wrong and you're like, rather than trying to prove myself right, sometimes just let it go. Recognize which arguments you need to participate in and which ones you don't. So point number 1, try to find yourself agreeing with your spouse more than arguing. And I'm not saying you become a doormat. I'm not saying you roll over and one person always gets their way. But understand that it's, what point does it start if you win the battle but lose the war? Meaning that you pretty much, you tear your relationship apart because you're always trying to be right. You're one-upping them to the point where they feel like less than a spouse.
Basically, you got to pick your battles. So some things, when it's like, maybe like, what do you want to eat? Or baby, where you want to go for dinner tonight? Or would you like to go shopping? Oh, I said the wrong word.
Hold on, shopping. Yes, and more yes. Okay.
Wrong word.
Out of your mouth.
I know, but you know what? You have to think about this. What makes your spouse happy? Mm-hmm. So she knows I like to watch football and I like to watch, Madam Secretary. So she'll give in and she'll watch those things with me. So I know that she likes to go shopping. She likes to get her nails done. So those things, I'm not going to argue anymore. There's no sense in having an argument.
Don't. Not going to win.
So, you look at basically what is, prioritize. Mm-hmm. Is it really worth arguing about some things that are really not that important? Now, if it's something that's going to be detrimental to the family, the direction of buying homes, these major decisions, there need to be some time taken and some budgeting, and there need to be some talking and some
B word
communication. So we both have to be able to listen to each other's side and make some informed, efficient decisions. This is not the time to just let the wife have her way, or not the time to have the man, because complimenting. So if I have the tendency of if I'm a spender and she's not, and she's a saver, I may be excited. I want to get this, I'm going to get that. She said, hold up, this is where the compliment comes in. Let's write this down and look at our budget and see if we can afford that. And I'm like, okay. So we have to sit down and we have to discuss these things. So that's something that we have to definitely work out and not just give in. We have to really sincerely look at this because it affects the family, it affects your future. Does it make sense?
Yeah. You also have to be mindful. Do I want to be happy or do I want to be right? So sometimes you have to think about it. Look, let's sit down and have the conversation. Although I do want those new pair of shoes, I do want this home. Is it in my family's best interest to pursue something like that at this time? Be
Yes.
willing to listen to wise counsel. So our first point is try to see if you can find yourself or fine tune yourself to do more agreeing than you do arguing, meaning you don't always have to be right. We're not in any way, shape, or form saying one spouse should become the other spouse's doormat. No. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is try to come to some sort of mutual agreement because, one spouse isn't going to always get their way. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. So what's point number 2? Point number 2.
Praising
Rather than punishing. Now, we talked, in one of our previous teachings more so about trying to you should be your spouse's biggest supporter. But have you noticed, we've noticed when we deal with couples, that a lot of times you don't see a lot of praising one another sometimes. You see more punishing. He didn't do this. She didn't do that. She stopped cooking. He stopped giving me sex. All kinds of different things. Have you noticed, even with our children, sometimes praising them works more than punishing them? When you start encouraging them, yes, you can do this, yes, you can do that, they start wanting to do more because they love that praise. But then when you punish them, you start getting all the resentment and the backlash. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't punish your kids because I do punish mine. Let's be transparent about that.
Let's give an example. Let's use a random couple. So
okay.
Let's say Jack and Jill, right? So Jack and Jill, they're in their 30s. They just got married. They've been married about maybe 2 years. They had their first baby.
Okay.
They already bought a home. And for some reason, Jack just can't understand why Jill is always so moody. And Jill just can't understand why Jack is not catering to her needs.
Okay.
She feels like he is just selfish and he doesn't think about her. She really feels that, he doesn't love her.
Wow.
So that's a scenario where there needs to be some communication and some thought-provoking, maybe some outside help needs to be done. Number one, she may be going through what they call postpartum depression because women's bodies change after they have a baby.
Hormone levels are fluctuating.
So she's not happy with the way she looks. She's not happy the way she feels. She wants to be complimented and she needs assistance. Now, Jack, I know for me, when we had our baby, I didn't know how to help her out. When she came home, I had the baby. There were diapers all over the place. There was dishes in the sink.
Don't take me back.
It was smelly in the house. Oh, she has to have a clean house.
Yes.
So I was like, expecting her when she came home to start cooking, waiting for her to come home. And she's like, I'm tired. And then when she comes home to a dirty house and diapers everywhere, oh gosh.
No cooking and no loving.
So that is what I'm talking about, that there needs to be some, some outside help. Because sometimes when you're going through those things, you just don't realize what's going on.
But you know what that leads us to? It's point number 3, which is you should do more encouraging than emasculating.
Yes.
Sometimes when things are not going our way, as spouses, we're, quick to put them down. You never do this. You don't do that. Why not? Da, da, da. And then guess what? It turns into Charlie Brown because he's like, wah, you start sounding like wah, 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 wah in his ear. And he's just kind of tuned out. But when you try to encourage him, baby, I thank you so much for taking care of the kids. I thank you so much for what you're doing. perhaps in the future, would you mind helping out? It would be helpful to me, or make it easier for me to come home and cook if we don't have all the diapers in the middle of the floor or that. And that way I can kind of maneuver a little bit more and cook more. So it's a
this
win-win.
is what you need to do, guys. You need to take your woman and you look into her and say, sweetheart, I know you've been working all day. So you know what? I'm gonna learn how to do the dishes. I'm gonna learn how to change the baby's diapers. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna go buy a poopy diaper bag. So, and one of those scented ones, so you don't have to smell the poopies from all day. And guess what? I'm gonna order in. So we'll already have dinner cooked. And baby, you know what? So this is why, we gotta make sure that she knows that I'm not selfish, I'm selfless.
Right.
So I'm gonna, make a big effort. And this is something that you have to do. You have to make an effort.
Yes.
Both of you gotta be willing to make an effort.
Yes.
Because if you don't, the number one thing you're gonna be like, well, I'm not happy in this relationship. And I can't take this. Every time I come home, you fussing about this, and so we don't want that to happen. But this is a common occurrence, especially in young couples who just had their first baby. I mean, and they're professionals. They both have a great job. They're making monies, and then it's just starting that family. It's kind of that hump that everybody goes through when you're starting a family. But you have to be willing to make a change to make it work.
And I get it. Sometimes you may feel like, well, I've had that conversation with them. And then, well, we tell you, read the book. I've read the book. I've been to workshops. Sometimes you do need a third party outside of the relationship that can give you a perspective it's not impacted by your view or your spouse's view. And that's where we come in. We're more than willing to help. Just send us a quick email and we'll schedule a consultation. Because our goal, like we always tell couples, to help educate, empower, and encourage couples on how to win in their marriage.
Yes.
You can have a professional couple like Jack and Jill. They're making money and have the baby, and then they go through all the stresses of the adaptation of adding a new life into their current situation. But just because it's a challenge doesn't mean it cannot be overcome, and that's what we're here for.
So you know how those teams win in the Super Bowl? They have coaches, coaches with experience.
Yeah.
And we have to be coaches. Sometimes people say counselors. No, you don't need no counselors. You need somebody to coach you. That's all you need is a good coach. Coach you how to do the right things.
But then also, if we do have a conversation with you and we find out that you do require some counseling because there are some underlying things going on, we'll be more than happy to refer you, connect you with a licensed mental health counselor or marriage counselor. That's not the issue. But just reach out. Our hands are, we're extending the invitation. We'd love to be able to connect with you.
Yes. So if there's some baggage that's a little too heavy, we're going to definitely have to get someone to come and assist with that baggage. And then to wrap this up, you got to take a breath, and you got to be able to listen, and you got to be on the same team, and you got to be on the same plan and playbook.
Yes.
Because remember, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
And I know we got a dream, and we want to make it work.
So thanks so much for your time. That's all we have for you today. But
visit us at marriagescanwin.com, and
you can follow us on our social media on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter under Marriages Can Win.
have a great evening.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.